Welcome to the Bandano Podcast, where we're calling a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. Money Mitch, put him in a ditch. Caitlin Clark goes on NBC Sunday Night Basketball yesterday evening and says, hey, priority this offseason, win a championship. Priority this offseason, bring back my running mate, Kelsey Mitchell, and let's run it back the best backcourt in the WNBA. Let's get right into it. Please like the video. Let me know your thoughts on the...
Caitlin Clark didn't just suggest it, she demanded it. On national television, with the entire league watching, she drew a line in the sand that left the Indiana Fever front office scrambling for answers. She made it crystal clear that her loyalty isn't just to the jersey, but to the woman standing next to her in the backcourt. The message was sent loud and clear. If the front office doesn't move heaven and earth to keep Kelsey Mitchell, the championship window they just opened might slam shut before it even begins. It was a rare, raw moment of a superstar claiming her power, and the ripples are still being felt across the WNBA.
The upcoming Fever season. I mean, we're trying to win it all last year. That's certainly what we're trying to do this year. It's a very unique situation. I think there's over 100 players in the league that are free agents, so we really only know about 5 or 3 people that are going to be on our team next year. But I feel like we have a great core. You know, our first priority is to sign Kelsey Mitchell back. Was first team all WNBA last year, eligible for the Supermax. Kind of my running mate in the backcourt. She makes it real easy for me. So there's nothing like playing for the Fever. I think we're going to be
The bombshell dropped during a high-profile appearance on NBC Sunday Night Basketball. While most players stick to safe, scripted PR answers, Clark went rogue. She looked directly into the camera and identified Kelsey Mitchell as her absolute priority for the upcoming offseason. This wasn't just praise for a teammate, it was a public mandate. She called Mitchell her running mate and insisted they run it back as the best backcourt in the league. But behind those words was a chilling realization that fans are just now starting to grasp. This isn't just a request for a reunion, it's a desperate attempt to save a partnership that is statistically headed for a breakup.
Great support staff, so it's super exciting. Now I know how we all feel about Caitlin Clark saying she has a great coach. I know we all think that's a bunch of hogwash, but maybe she believes it. Maybe she believes it. Kelsey Mitchell, I know fan base is 50-50 split. Some want Money Mitch back, some don't want Money Mitch back. Some don't want her back because of how she plays on the court. Some don't want her back because of the contract situation moving forward. Caitlin Clark, I think there's over 100 players in the league that are free agents. So we really only know about 5. Oopsie.
The reality of the situation is much darker than the highlights suggest. Clark openly admitted that the league is heading into a period of unprecedented chaos. With over 100 players hitting free agency, the Indiana Fever roster is a ghost town. Clark pointed out that they really only know about 3 to 5 people who will actually be on the team next year. That level of instability is enough to make any superstar snap. When you realize that the chemistry you built through blood, sweat, and tears could be wiped out in a single afternoon of signings, the pressure to act becomes an all-consuming fire that Clark is now stoking.
Changing possible end date to November 21st on a new CBA. I read the article, I scrolled all the way down, and then here we go. Players signing a contract as part of a sign and trade can no longer sign for more than the standard max salary. Okay. Players signing a contract as part of a sign and trade can no longer sign for more than the standard max salary. That means if you want to sign and trade her, you can't offer her the supermax. Fair enough. Fair enough. We all understand that. Fair. Now, my question would be, what if the Fever just want to put the chips in the basket this one season?
Kelsey Mitchell isn't just any player, she's Money Mitch, the veteran who stabilized the ship when the rookie storm was at its peak. Last year, she was first team all WNBA and became eligible for the Supermax contract. That sounds like a reward, but in the world of salary caps and long-term planning, it's actually a ticking time bomb. Clark knows that the Fever are in a unique position where they have a great core, but that core is about to become impossibly expensive. The urgency in her voice suggests she knows something we don't, that the math for keeping this big three together only works for one more desperate run.
Run it back with Kelsey Mitchell, run it back with Caitlin Clark, run it back with Aaliyah Boston, bring back Alexi Hall. Shoot, offer Sophie Cunningham, the $700,000 that she wants. You still got Michaela Timpson, and then piece up the rest of the bench with vet minimums and maybe one $500,000 contract. What if they want to do that? That's capable. They're able to. But I know a lot of people's concern is, well, what about moving forward? Well, that's when we trade Kelsey Mitchell after this upcoming season. When CC is up for the Supermax, when Aaliyah Boston is about to get re-signed, if they're not going to re-sign her for the Supermax this year.
The fan base is currently split right down the middle, creating a civil war of opinions. Half the fans want to give Mitchell whatever she wants to keep the Clark-Mitchell engine humming. The other half is terrified of the long-term consequences. They see the Supermax as a golden cage that will prevent the team from building around Clark when her own massive extension looms on the horizon. This tension is reaching a breaking point, and Clark's public comments have effectively picked a side, forcing the organization to choose between the superstar's wishes and the cold, hard logic of the balance sheet.
Her running mate, Kelsey Mitchell, and Stephanie White staying the bleep out the way. Most importantly, Stephanie White staying the bleep out the way. But unfortunately, the coach is Stephanie White. She can't help herself. She must stay in the way. And I have a strange suspicion that the way the offense is going to set up is going to be like, damn, what the hell are we doing here? Causing people to say, well, this is why we didn't want to sign Kelsey Mitchell, because this is Stephanie White's chosen one. Stephanie White loves her. Got the ultimate green light. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's playing second fiddle. Very fair. Very, very.
There is a massive elephant in the room regarding the new collective bargaining agreement rules that many are overlooking. Under the current landscape, if a player signs a contract as part of a sign and trade, they can no longer sign for more than the standard max salary. This means if the Fever want to move Mitchell later to recoup assets, they can't offer her the Supermax now. It's a now or never scenario. If Mitchell wants her financial security, she has to stay, but if she stays on a Supermax, she becomes nearly impossible to trade. This legal hurdle is exactly why this feels like the final year of the partnership as we know it.
Because this is Stephanie White's chosen one. Stephanie White loves her. Got the ultimate green light. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's playing second fiddle. Very fair. Very, very, very fair. Stephanie White, get out the damn way and just let these two players hoop. Let Caitlin Clark lead the team. Give her money, Mitch. I don't think anybody would complain if this is the year that we get from Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell with Aaliyah Boston and Alexi Hall, and by the grace of God, Sophie Cunningham comes back. I don't think anybody would complain about that. What we would complain about is if Caitlin Clark's numbers look like 16 and 12, 17 and 10, and
Caitlin Clark is smart. She knows that once Aaliyah Boston's contract comes up for renewal and her own rookie deal expires, the Fever won't be able to afford 3 Supermax players. The logic is simple and brutal. They have 1 year to put all the chips in the center of the table. This is why Clark is pushing so hard right now. She's looking at a roster that currently only guarantees her Aaliyah Boston and Michaela Timpson. Everything else is up in the air, and the fear of losing the one person who makes the game easy for her is clearly driving her to a state of high-stakes frustration.
I think I addressed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you take Caitlin Clark's words at face value, or do you think she's being diplomatic, being the company man, and just regurgitating what Stephanie White and Kelly Krauskopf told her to say? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much. See you next time, and as always, take it easy.
The coaching situation adds another layer of gasoline to the fire. Stephanie White is stepping in, and while Clark gave the company man answer about having a great coach, the subtext is heavy. Fans are already worried that White's system might prioritize Mitchell's scoring over Clark's playmaking, potentially turning the generational talent into a second fiddle. If Clark feels like the front office is forcing a style of play that doesn't fit, her snap on NBC might just be the first warning shot in a much larger battle for control over the team's offensive identity. Imagine a scenario where the Fever decide to hunt for Sophie Cunningham, who is reportedly looking for a massive 7-figure deal. To make that happen, the financial gymnastics would be insane. You'd have Clark, Boston, Mitchell, and potentially Cunningham taking up nearly the entire cap. The bench would be filled with minimum contract players and rookies. It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy that screams championship or bust. Clark seems willing to take that gamble, but the stress of knowing the front office might choose a more conservative long-term approach is clearly wearing her down. The phrase running mate wasn't chosen by accident. In the back half of last season, the chemistry between Clark and Mitchell was the most dangerous thing in professional basketball. They weren't just playing together, they were reading each other's minds. When you find that kind of magic, you don't let it walk away because of a spreadsheet. Clark's insistence on bringing Mitchell back is a testament to how much she values that on-court shorthand. She knows that starting over with a new guard would set her development back by years, and she simply doesn't have that kind of time to waste. But here is the cold truth that no one wants to admit. If Mitchell signs that 4-year Supermax, the Fever are essentially married to her until the end. Logically, you can't just trade a Supermax player after one season without destroying your reputation with agents and future free agents. If they commit to her now, they are committing to a specific window that might close sooner than fans expect. This reality is likely what's causing the friction behind the scenes. Clark wants the win now, but the front office has to worry about the next decade of Indiana basketball. What if the Fever's offense changes so much under Stephanie White that the Clark-Mitchell duo actually regresses? That is the nightmare scenario. If Mitchell gets the ultimate green light and Clark's numbers drop to 16 or 17 points a game, the fans will revolt. We saw glimpses of this frustration late last year when the ball stopping became an issue. Clark is advocating for her friend, but she's also advocating for a system that worked. If the new coaching staff messes with that formula, all the money in the world won't keep this roster happy or cohesive. There's also the question of Lexi Hull and the restricted free agency trap. The Fever have to find a way to bring back their defensive specialist while also juggling Mitchell's massive demands. Every dollar given to one player is a dollar taken away from the supporting cast. Clark's comments about only knowing 3 to 5 people on the team next year highlight the terrifying lack of depth they are currently facing. She isn't just snapping at the front office. She's snapping at the uncertainty of playing for a team that could look completely different by training camp. The pressure is reaching a fever pitch because Indiana is now the favorite to win it all. Clark admitted that being the favorite adds pressure, but she claims to love it. However, that pressure changes the math. You don't have time to develop or wait and see. You have to strike while the iron is hot. If the front office lets Mitchell walk, they aren't just losing a player, they are losing the confidence of their franchise cornerstone. Clark has made it a litmus test for the organization's commitment to winning a title immediately. If I'm Kelsey Mitchell, I'm listening to Clark's interview and feeling like I have all the leverage in the world. Why would she take a penny less than the Supermax when the league's biggest star just publicly begged for her return? This puts the Fever in an impossible negotiating position. They either pay up and ruin their future cap flexibility, or they lowball her and risk offending Caitlin Clark. It's a strategic nightmare that Clark herself created by being so honest on national television. She essentially handed Mitchell the keys to the vault. The move forward is clear, but the path is treacherous. The most likely outcome is a 1-year all-in push where the team pays Mitchell her money, brings in a few veterans on minimum deals, and hopes the Clark-Mitchell-Boston trio can overpower the rest of the league. But that requires everyone to be on the same page. If there is even a hint of ego or a struggle for the green light between the two guards, the whole thing will implode. Clark's public support of Mitchell is an attempt to preemptively smooth over those issues, but the tension is palpable. We have to ask, is Caitlin Clark being diplomatic or is she being a company man? Some think she's just regurgitating what the front office told her to say to keep Mitchell happy during negotiations, but the intensity of her delivery suggests otherwise. This felt like a personal plea. She knows that without Mitchell's scoring gravity, teams will be able to box and one her into oblivion. Mitchell is her insurance policy, her release valve, and her best friend on the court. Losing her isn't just a roster change, it's a direct threat to Clark's own efficiency and success. The clock is ticking toward the November 21st CBA deadline and the start of the free agency frenzy. Every day that passes without a firm commitment to Mitchell is a day that Clark's frustration grows. She's already seen how quickly things can change in this league, and she's not interested in a rebuilding year. She wants to be a champion now. The snap we saw on NBC was a warning that she expects the organization to match her level of intensity and her willingness to do whatever it takes to win. Looking back at the post-All-Star break performance from last year, it's easy to see why Clark is so protective of this duo. They were historic, they were unstoppable, they were the future of the WNBA. To break that up after only half a season of true elite synergy would be a tragedy for the sport. But the business of basketball is often tragic. The salary cap doesn't care about chemistry, and the CBA doesn't care about running mates. Clark is fighting against the very structure of the league to keep her team intact. The coaching transition to Stephanie White is the final wild card. If White can manage the personalities and the shots, this could be the greatest backcourt in history. If she can't, it will be the most expensive mistake in Fever history. Clark's public endorsement of both the coach and her teammate is an attempt to bridge that gap, but the skeptics are loud. They see a coach who might get in the way of the natural flow that Clark and Mitchell developed under the previous regime. The stakes for this specific season have never been higher. Ultimately, the fans just want to see Money Mitch and CC lighting up the scoreboard together. They want to see the long threes, the transition fast breaks, and the pure joy that defined the end of last season. But they also want a dynasty. Balancing those two desires is the impossible task facing the Indiana front office. Clark has made her choice clear. She wants her partner back. Consequences be damned. She's ready to run it back, even if it's for the final time, because she knows that magic like this is rare and fleeting. As we head into this offseason, the eyes of the basketball world are on Indiana. Will they listen to their superstar and pay the supermax to keep the duo together? Or will they play it safe and risk alienating the face of the league? The tension is so thick you can cut it with a knife. Clark has done her part. She's spoken her truth and put the pressure exactly where it needs to be. Now it's up to the front office to decide if they are brave enough to follow her lead into the fire. The final year of the Fever's current Big Three might be upon us, whether we like it or not. The financial reality of the WNBA makes long-term stability almost impossible for teams with multiple superstars. Caitlin Clark knows this. She's not just playing for this season. She's playing against the clock. If this is indeed the final ride for her and Kelsey Mitchell, expect the most explosive, high-scoring, and dramatic basketball we've ever seen. Clark has snapped, the gauntlet has been thrown down, and now the only thing left to do is win it all before the money runs out.